Folks, hello and welcome to Tavern Chat, the daily cast, available on YouTube, uh, Anchor, wherever you get your podcasts. So today we actually have a follow-up voicemail to the hyperlinked PDF controversy episode, and well, you know what? We'll just hop into that, and then we'll take it from there. So without further ado.
Good morning, Eric. This is Taylor from Clericsware Ringmail calling in to talk about links in RPG products. So, like you, I don't really use the links in the index at all. When I'm working on a physical media, they just don't work. I keep tapping the page with my finger and the pages don't turn. I have to do it manually.
I see what you did there, Taylor. You made it funny. And you know what? And I will say this. It is funny, but there's some truth to it because I do know when I'm working on, if I'm reading a PDF on my computer screen or on my laptop, I want to scroll with my fingers. I want to touch, and like I do with my iPad, but I can't do that because it isn't touch. But I digress.
I think it's a problem with the print on demand process. But in PDFs, honestly, if I'm going to be searching for something, it's easier for me to Control F and then search.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't even do Control F and search. Well, because again, I am reading most of my PDFs on a tablet. I'm not reading the majority of them on my computer screen. Do I read some of them on my computer screen? Sure. That's part of the reason why I have two screens. I have a second screen set up in a vertical position, not horizontal, but vertical, to read PDFs. However, that's more for me to read PDFs for when I'm doing an episode of the cast, or if I'm reading something and referencing them for a blog post and I want to copy paste. That's why that screen is there. I don't use it to read PDFs on a regular basis. It just isn't convenient for me.
Rather than to scroll back to the index. Now, where linking is useful, I would say linking is super useful for cross references.
Now, this is interesting, and Taylor calls back and goes into a bit more details on it. And I will say, if I could find more products that have it as Taylor talks about it, I'd probably use in the future more.
To elaborate, if I'm reading a module and it says, if the players in room A attack the goblins, they will alert the bugbear in room C. And the word room C is a link to the room C description, or the goblin is a link to a bestiary entry for goblin. That's super useful.
And it's extremely useful. And I would love to see that on longer adventures. And dare I say, things like Barrow Maze or something like, trying to think. I guess you'd have to be on the level of Barrow Maze, really, right, for that to become something that is needed. If I'm writing a short adventure, 4, 8, 10 pages, do you need those hyperlinks? No. But if you're looking at an adventure that's 120 pages long with hundreds of rooms, yes. Holy crap. That becomes not just useful, maybe even becomes a selling point.
I've caught myself using that before. Now, I'm not a commercial publisher yet. Per our conversation about how easy it is to get on drive-through, I may try to do that.
And getting on drive-through is not difficult. And there's other routes to go, too. You can do itch.io or even sell things as like a PayPal link. There's other ways, but drive-through is pretty easy. If you're a humble bartender can sell on drive-through? I think most anybody can.
Instead of continuing on the blog, but I use Libre, so it's easy for me, but I understand why someone who is more professional, who is using a real product, would not necessarily want to invoke that cost. Anyway, the point was to identify.
By the way, the cost is a lot of times it's time, and to make sure your links work, and not just going from the index, but by doing those links within the entries, it can be time consuming. But I'm not saying it wouldn't be useful. All right? There's a balance to it, though.
Identify the use case, and would I pay extra for it? No. No, I probably wouldn't.
And you know what, folks? I find that observation from Taylor to be interesting. He wouldn't pay extra for it, right? It's a feature. It's a useful feature. But would you pay extra for it? No. Now people are out there and they're going to argue, well, it shouldn't be extra. It should be basic. Well, you know what? What you think should be basic is not going to be a basic feature to somebody else. And for some people, it's worth a premium. Now, here's the thing. I will, generally speaking, I'll read an adventure in PDF, but when I run it, I need it printed. And why is that? Maybe it's still that old styleness to me. I like to feel things, but I like to make notations on stuff. A lot of times when I run an adventure, I keep track of the hit points. I keep track of the creatures, the monsters, on those pages directly. My scrap paper might be minimal because I'm taking care of it within the adventure. If you look at my old TSR era adventures, there's pencil marks and all of them as I kept track of hit points. So it's just a habit I've gotten into, and you can't do that conveniently with a PDF. Yes, I know you can mark them up with the right apps, but it's not the same. So I like to have it printed out, and I flip through the pages. So the hyperlinked aspect would be interesting and would be useful when I was reading it possibly in bed, my first reading through. But when I'm going to run it, I'm going to be running it from a printed page. So it's not going to really be as huge a benefit as it could be for others, at least for me. But again, a 6 of one, a half dozen of the other. I'd like to get the opinions of others. For some people, I can really see how this would be hugely important. But for me, it's not a deal breaker, and it's certainly not where I'm going to hang my hat and block people on social media because I disagree with them. Right? Just a thought. Just my twist on that. So, folks, we are still in the midst of the world of the pandemic, although maybe, it's like after that nuclear holocaust you were always fearing as a kid growing up in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And it's like, okay, the nuclear winter is breaking off, and now sunlight's going to come back, and, well, you know what? Life is beginning to potentially return to normal. However, we aren't fully there yet. I'm vaccinated. Rachel's vaccinated. We're going to be at North Texas in a couple of weeks. But not everybody's vaccinated. I understand that. And not everybody is able to get vaccinated. Not everybody wants to get vaccinated. You know your personal health situation. You know what the risk factors are for you. You know what decision is best for you and your family. I will say this. Use your common sense to keep yourself, your family, your friends, your loved ones healthy and safe. You can't help others if you yourself are not healthy. Be safe, be well, God bless. Roll those dice. Roll them well. And God willing, knock on wood, I shall be back again tomorrow. Maybe a little backyard broadcasting, we shall see. All right, folks. Thank you much. I'll catch you later.